Alright guys, so this is the instructional video for adding a splice feature. Um, it mostly comes from the solid edge electrical side of things, but I thought it'd be a good piece of information for you guys to have just to show how solid edge is going to display it. Now, kind of as a side note here, this particular build has a bug in it. It is currently actively being worked on to try to get it fixed, so this should be done probably not for America's update training, but for the ones after that in a later build. Uh, but you can see nonetheless. So first of all, we're going to go open up harness.asm in Solid Edge. So this is going to be under the to electrical um, design folder, example for splice, SE console harness, and then open the harness.asm. Additionally, we're going to go over here to Solid Edge Electrical. If you haven't brought this project in yet, you're going to have to go to the Files, drop down Import Project, go to the exact same spot, and you're going to see an XML file, the SE-SEE integration demo. Go ahead and import that project. Of course, once you do that the first time, you won't have to do it anymore because it'll go into your database. And then from there, you can simply go into Open, which I don't have right now, so how do I close this guy? Yeah, so essentially you're going to see close project, there we go. Essentially you're going to see an open SE integration, and then go ahead and click down on Instrument Panel A, and Diagram 1. Alright, so I'm just going to fit this because it was off the side of the screen. We're going to have an instrument panel located here, and we're also going to have the instrument panel um, ECAD schematic as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a wire from this pin over to this wire, run a splice here, and show how it updates. However, before we do that, we need to make sure that we're in connected mode. I already am in connected mode, so let me get out of that just to show you how it's going to work. Workflow, connected mode, go ahead and turn those guys off. And you'll notice that we're not in connected mode. The thing about it is that when you go to configure connected mode, if you haven't already done this or if it's a new install, there is a slight bug right now where this is going to come in the wrong port. This is 49909 on a new import. You need to change it over to whatever this is equal to. So 49902 is what we have, so that everything's pointing at the proper location. Click OK, and then go to Electrical Connect. It's going to initialize connected mode, and then go over here, do the same thing. It's going to establish connected mode. We're going to get that update on both sides, um, and you should be able to easily tell what is what from there. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize all this stuff. Basically what I want to do is go ahead and get these wires in here so we can see the update with the splice. So we're going to go ahead and do a bridge out. It's going to come across, and then notice that we're going to have an update available. For the update, you can see that we have SW1, we have two switches which are the same components, so we need to identify which switch is going to be associated to what. It doesn't really matter at this point. Just go ahead and assign those occurrences to either one of those switches, and then everything should go ahead and resolve as far as the wires are concerned. We've got a cable coming in as well. Go ahead and click finish and see all of that being done. So once we get that in place, you're going to notice that this particular object here is going to be the battery and health indicator. These wires are the ones that, not this one, but this wire is going to be the one that we're going to be splicing into. If you're not seeing that, you need to go and turn on cross select up here in the ribbon bar, so that you can see those highlight between the two. Now the rest of the work is pretty much going to take place over in Solid Edge Electrical. Come over here, and then you'll notice that as you can click on this pin and just drag it all the way over to the edge just to clean up so we don't have as many crossing wires, and move that pin over to here. Okay. From there, we're going to go ahead and place a wire, but one thing to recognize is we need to come down here. If you've done the What's New demo, this should be in multi-wire placement mode. Click it twice, it's going to be into the auto route mode. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and automatically route this. If you intersect it with another wire, it's going to automatically place a splice there. So we'll go ahead and do a new wire. Click on that pin to start it. Go over here to this wire, double click to place it. It's automatically going to route that for us. Now we need to make sure that this is all part of the same wire harness, right? Because it's important to make sure that everything associates. So you can just do a fin select right in the middle. And essentially, because this wire right here was already part of that harness, we can right click, go to harness attributes, and that attribute will then place all of the components associated to it. So it's all part of the same harness design. And then additionally, we need to go and set up some properties associated to this wire, because if we don't do that, Solid Edge isn't going to know how to draw it. So we'll go and change the color, make this guy orange, change the material to TWC, change the size to 0.35, go ahead and click OK so that wire is properly defined. From here, we're going to go to Workflow, go ahead and bridge it out. And you're going to notice that not only the components changed, but over here we've got one new splice coming across, right? So whenever we hit update, you're going to see this update appropriately. Now the problem is that on this particular build, until this fix comes through, it doesn't update completely appropriately, right? So when we go and do an update harness, you'll notice that it places the splice, right? So we have a splice now. It cuts it in the right spot, but this particular wire, this wire 1, does not resolve and go to the connector it's supposed to. It loops back on itself. That's something that's currently been filed. But just to see how that works, and splices are going to be represented as blue dots as it was in previous releases. So there's nothing really that the end user has to do on the CAD side. Once we get this little bit of a bug worked out, we should be good to go. So that's the instructional video for how to place and view a splice inside of Solid Edge.